Welcome back to Hondaville and some more exploration and a voyage of discovery. Starting with this little research, up to 1978, single overhead cam. Yes, not dual. So OHC, overhead cam, not a D. Yes, so I'm researching what I've actually bought. Yes, and furthermore, it appears we have a starter motor. I did a little research, and it's very fashionable to disconnect the starter motor, make it proper old school with a kickstart, but I'm too old for that myself. So yes, we'll be recommissioning that if we can, if it even works. If not, we'll have to get a new one, but at least it's in there. And the solenoid apparently is up here, or not, behind the wonderful checker plate. All the cables seem to be in place, but whether they're connected to anything is another question altogether. Au revoir. So the offending article is now removed, and at least this one's aluminium, not steel, and weighs a ton. This button was not connected to anything. So I'm wondering if that was a start button at some point, because this is the key, the main ignition. So possibly. Lovely bit of welding on the other side. Great job. Anyway, this lead, this one, the small one, does seem to lead up to this, which is not the conventional place for a starter solenoid. Conventional place is over here somewhere. But obviously I had to make room for that lovely checker plate. So this might be a starter solenoid. It might be something else, completely different. Oh, I need to look it up. But I think that's it. Sadly, I think I nicked that when I was cutting this off. Yeah, that's a shame, because even if I'm not going to keep it, I'm going to try and sell it, and that's a bugger. What a bummer. Anyway, focus, we're doing electrics. Oh, you might not believe it, but I actually spent the morning tidying up in it. Yes, I got everything out and put it all back again. I think I've achieved a little bit more space, certainly at the back end there. All that shit stuck in the corner now. And yeah, there's all this stuff. Need to get this fixed. Anyway, I got a call from Derek this morning. Yes, never cease, and I'm picking up the seat tomorrow, hopefully, from him, if he's at home. On my way back from doing a little prep work on the race car, because we are racing. Yes, I'm also going to be looking at the Honda seat. Given that this came with it, it's not bad. It's metal, and I consider it to be a freebie. So I may well be looking at modifying that to see if that's going to work on the new shortened version of the Honda that we now have, and I should be doing that on my nice clean tidy bench. Look at that. Wow, that's where the seat sat originally, and we've chopped off I want to say 8 inches as per usual, 6 inches maybe off the back end. And if we use the original hinge, just the one, because the other one's up here now, we're up to 24, and we just got a little bit of pokage out the back there, which is not ideal. So we're going to have to shift the hinges as well, but that's not. That's what I'm thinking. It'll sit like that, which is lovely, actually. I like that. And it's a very traditional looking back end. So we're now up to 22.5, so that's 7 inches. We've effectively got to chop off this baby, and then we've got to shift the bracket for the hinge accordingly, about whatever. Anyway, we're not going to do that because we don't know what we're doing with the tank yet, so it would be foolish to chop the seat until we get the tank, and until we sit that where it's going to sit. And for that we need to do some more measuring, and then we need to check out what's on eBay and work out which of those tanks we're going to get, and if we're going to get it pre-painted. And yeah, I might just cut 6 inches off, leaving myself an inch spare just in case because you know what I'm like. Anyway, measuring the tank situation here, so that's where it was originally, and the tank was kind of flush to it, obviously, and we got a max of, absolute max of 22, bearing in mind the forks are going to move around a little, so yeah, probably 21 inch is what we're looking at there, and it's about 8 inches across at the back, and get those coils out of the way. It's about 4.5, 5 inches at the front, and then the actual tunnel itself is, I want to say, about 6 inches. Well, up here it's nearly 8, so 8 sloping to nothing. Okay, so pretty much something like that is going to work. Let's see what we can find. Well, I found my tank, and it's pre-painted silver, so how about that? For 43 bucks, 75 cents, free shipping. What the hell? How do they do that? So I've removed the frame from underneath the seat because I figured I would need to modify it somehow because of those hinges. They're part of the hinge. But actually I'm thinking I don't need to because I can probably just put one in here wherever I want it, and it'll work from there. So I don't think I really need that monstrosity of steel and grade 8 bolts. I mean, what the hell? And I'm not quite sure how this checker plate is fitted in there. Seems to be glued, which is interesting. So I might just leave that. I suppose it's there for strength, I guess. Anyway, we shall see when we chop it. And on the subject of chopping, I've obviously got to do something about the holes that the tyre wraps were poked through and the wire for the backlight. So I mean, I could fill them, obviously, and retain the shape as it is. But I'm not sure. I think I like the idea of just turning it up a little bit at the end, because thinking ahead again, we're probably going to have one of our LED perspex lights somehow mounted in there, right? So we might need to be able to see that. It might be mounted all the way back here. So yeah, I think I might do that. Not immediately. I shall consider it. And here we are, considering it. And I think it's a good idea, actually, all round. Not least of all, give us a bit of clearance on the back wheel there, which is kind of necessary. So I think I shall do that when I get round to chopping it, which is not now. And when I get the grinder out, I shall also be removing these horrible exhaust pipes at a point where they were welded on, and examining. I'm going to take them off, obviously, to do that. Well, actually I don't have to, but I'm going to. And so I've started the procedure, hoping these studs are going to be okay. I've put some penetrating oil to loosen them up a bit, hopefully. The reality is I don't need to take them off to do that cutting, because I can just twist them out like I did before. But I do need to get them off anyway, clean them up, paint them, decide what I'm going to do. May well wrap them, I suppose. And then there's that horrible piece of shit. Yes, we're going to be refurbishing that, if not ordering a new one. It's a little bit dented up, and I think that's what they were trying to hide with the black paint, which obviously they put on with a brush or something. I don't know. It's flaking off for sure. Looking at the foot pegs on the Honda, I'm thinking to potentially... What am I thinking? Well, I was thinking I'd get all complicated and shorten the brake pedal and do all kinds of stuff and find somewhere to mount something, and then I thought I'll have a look on eBay. And of course there's all kinds of stuff for a CB750 and some nice rear sets right there, which are bloody expensive compared to the fuel tank, I'll have you know. but rear sets are, because they're kind of tricky. It says this doesn't fit the Suzuki, which is a shame, but I think I'm going to order one set, and then when they come I'm going to play around, see if they fit the Suzuki as well, or could be made to fit the Suzuki. Anyway, that's exciting. And an exciting delivery. The first part of the jigsaw front end, being the brake calipers, have arrived, and they look in pretty good condition actually. They're a little bit grubby and a little bit scratched up, but we'll probably paint them, right? I don't know what colour yet, but we'll see. And I just noticed another interesting configuration of brake lines, like on the Yamaha, both coming out one terminal on the top, where here we've got one caliper effectively feeding the other one. So that's interesting. So only one line up to the handlebars, and then splits off and divides between the two calipers. I don't think I've seen that before. Kind of cool. Works, I guess. Anyway, very clean and tidy. I shall leave the seller courteous feedback, and very prompt as well. Just looking at some other bits and pieces on the Honda, and yeah, tie wraps really zip top, yeah. So we're going to be improving that situation for the brake cable, clutch cable. Oh, I know, I was whining about zip ties, but it's temporary. That's why it's white, so it jumps out at me. Anyway, obviously I've sheathed it in the customary skeletal wrap, and I've rerouted it behind that, and actually it just sits there quite nicely on its own. I don't think it needs anything to hold it there. So it's all wrapped all the way to the back, and what I do with it here I don't know. I may even take it under the coils down there, and up the other side, or through the handlebars like it probably was in the first place. I don't remember. I probably need to check. But one job kind of done. Interestingly, both the Honda and the Suzuki are now running at about a £2 budget so far spent. The Honda will get more expensive, I have to tell you, but the Suzuki, not so much. 50 bucks on paint, and I don't know, we'll see. Again, the eternal question, what do you price it at when you put it out there? I don't know. I don't have a reputation. I'm not OTC, but who knows? Yeah, so I'm sitting here looking at that, and I really like that line I've drawn, because it totally coincidentally it follows the kind of line of the tire. Is there a line in the circle? You know what I mean. You can see what I mean, right? It just works. So I'm definitely going to cut that like that. And whilst I'm looking at this, I'm thinking, as far as the shocks go, they look fairly new, honestly. And I think I might just keep those as are. It's kind of old school, and that'll work. Definitely gonna grind that down to that white mark that I put, so it's more circular around the shock mount. No ideas yet as to what I'm going to do with the oil tank itself. That's obviously kind of stock, original, and it would have had a big fat kind of nasty looking side panel, but I'm sure we can create something. And contrary to the Suzuki in the background there, the DOHC over there, the 1980 Suzuki, yeah, we have plenty of room here, big gap, so maybe we put an oil tank in there, some shape or form, right? It's just a reservoir, nothing more complicated than that. Not sure if I can sort out that whole starter motor thing on myself. I might need to incorporate some expertise in that direction. That might be Curdy or Mikey or possibly even Ken. Have I introduced you to Ken yet? No, probably not. He's another biker and he helped me sort out that silly little CT70 Honda that I had when it wouldn't start whatsoever, and he traced the whole thing down to a little dodgy wire, and he's pretty good. Yeah. That said, he has a pretty mean Honda himself that he can't get started because the electronics are too crazy. I forget what it is. Isn't it an RC30 or something? It's a pretty cool bike. And yes, it's been immobile for over a year. Anyways, I think tomorrow, after I've been working on the race car, I'll be properly grubby. That's the word I'm looking for. And I might come back and do some cutting and grinding and whatever, and clean all that up and everything else that needs cleaning up like that. And again, I might not. It depends how I feel. I might be exhausted. If only I wasn't trying to run a business and a race team and help run a 501c3 all at the same time. It'd be quite easy. And on that note, I've got a lot to do, so I'm calling it a day, and this episode is over. Yes, thank you for watching. If you haven't already, please subscribe now and don't bother bashing the bell because it's just irritating. But do encourage others to watch my lunacy.